Well, here we are talking about the product again. Are we really shocked? Before I start, obviously, you guys will be getting the content that I've been promising. In fact, probably as soon as a week from now. However, I wanted to address one of the biggest points I made in my last video, which is I'm not interested in the WWE product. I figured what better way than to go over the SummerSlam card for 2018. We're going to be going over the rumored matches. We're also going to be going over the confirmed matches. So, take it for what you will. Starting with the confirmed matches, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Is there really much else to say? I mean, they've been at this for about a year and a half. Hasn't worked. Probably will never work. They're probably both going to get booed out of the building in New York. Is there really much else to say other than the Universal title at this point has become an absolute joke? At this point, it's more of a joke than the Hardcore title was back in the early 2000s. And that's honestly the truth of the matter. Like, it's honestly become that much of a fucking joke at this point. The only difference between this belt and the Hardcore title is that the Hardcore title had a 24/7 rule, where this belt is fucking ever defended rarely. So it's like, you might as well call it the fucking Part-Timers Championship. AJ Styles versus Mojo. People are probably going to hate me for this, but I really don't give a fuck because I'm going to be very truthful about the situation. Joe cuts good promos. AJ cuts good promos. Everyone's excited that the feud from TNA all those years ago is coming back to WWE. And finally, we're going to get a match at SummerSlam between the two for the WWE title. Everyone's wetting themselves over this. Do we need to remind ourselves how AJ and Shinsuke's feud went in the WWE as opposed to how it was handled in New Japan? Why? I should care about this feud. Why? I should care about Joe challenging for the WWE Championship. Why? I mean, no disrespect to these guys, but it's like there's no substance here, and you know what's going to happen. AJ's retaining. And the reason he's retaining is because they're going to try to beat the record of that Punk set all those years ago because it's petty. That's all it comes down to. It's fucking ridiculous. Next. Alexa Bliss versus Ronda Rousey. God, talk about a person who is a legitimate badass they've already fucking ruined. Well, we know Daniel Cormier ain't coming to the WWE anytime soon, is he? Like, Ronda Rousey laid a beating in on Alicia Fox, from what I understand, and then completely no-sold their offense like it was fucking nothing, from what I understand. Not that I watched the product to give a fuck, but from what I've already heard, her momentum from WrestleMania has already cooled down significantly. To anyone's fucking surprise. And Alexa Bliss, her momentum's been dead at death since the fucking This Is Your Life segment with Bayley. My God, has this woman fallen from grace. Not that she's not a good worker, because I actually think she is. It's just, people think that it's just Divas 2.0, and she looks really bad as champion. And she shouldn't be the champion. And honestly, with Ronda Rousey running around, it's kind of true. And everyone's like, well, Ronda Rousey will win it here at SummerSlam. They're going to fucking do some screwy finish where Alexa Bliss retains. And even if Ronda Rousey fucking wins, they're probably going to fuck it up halfway through like they always do. So who the fuck cares? Next, Carmella versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte in a triple threat SmackDown Women's Championship match. So let's take the match that we had at WrestleMania 32 and will replace one of the great workers in Sasha Banks with a shittier worker who also happens to be the champion that no fan fucking cares about. Effectively has buried the women's evolution. Ironic that they have a pay-per-view now, considering how fucking bad they booked this division. Next, Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Fuck everyone that said I was wrong about Kevin Owens' character being assassinated was a wrong hypothesis. Look who was right, motherfuckers. Because what has he done lately? I'll tell you what he's done. He's run away, he's looked like a bitch, he's been completely buried, and it's a complete far cry from when he first debuted on the main roster. That is a character assassination. Tell me I'm wrong, and tell me that Kevin Owens is the same person that he was when he first debuted. Tell it straight to my face next time you see me. I guarantee you won't be able to. As far as Braun Strowman goes, this guy is the only one who legitimately looks like he could beat Brock now, and it's a guy who's probably going to hold the WWE Universal title when he gets it for like years to come, and people are going to get fucking sick of it. And not that I would. I recommended that he should at least get the belt. It's just, they're going to fuck him over. The minute he gets that belt, they're going to fuck him over. And they're going to make him look stupid. Which is not going to be the first time they've done it, by the way. So either way, it's a guy who's already been fucked, who is facing a guy that's about to be fucked by the system. And meanwhile, WWE doesn't care because they're counting all their money from Fox and USA. Next, Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship. Well, at least it's a normal match, because Lord knows they put a gimmick on this fucking thing, they're bound to ruin it. Even though there's no way you could possibly fuck it up, they managed to. Does anyone care about Dolph Ziggler in 2018? How many times has this dude been buried? How many times has this dude's character been assassinated? Speaking of character assassinations, Exhibit A, Dolph Ziggler. Seth Rollins, who's the most over babyface on the roster, is competing for a secondary title. Therefore, him winning this title back will be fucking meaningless either way. There's no substance to this feud either. Is there really anything else to say about that? Next, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jeff Hardy. And I assume also Randy Orton for the United States Championship. So Shinsuke is basically the bitch boy between Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy. That's all I get out of this shit. Next, the Bludgeon Brothers versus either the Bar or the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, all three of these teams have done fuck all from what I understand, and haven't really made a whole hell of an impact on SmackDown. In fact, none of the teams on SmackDown have really made an impact, including the debuting Sanity, which means that group is dead on arrival. This is pretty bad. This just the talent. It's so talented, those three teams, and they just look like chumps that don't matter in the company. That's what I get out of this. Next, Cedric Alexander versus Drew Gulak for the Cruiserweight Championship. Now, I will say I've been watching 205. I'm just disappointed that this is going to be on the pre-show. Although it's probably the only match I'm really looking forward to because at least one character will be over. At least one character will probably be over later in the long run. And how can you really be buried on a show that doesn't really matter that much anyway? So at least it's enjoyable for match quality. I mean, I like 205, but it's just... this division just means nothing anymore, does it? Next. So now we're on the rumored section. I guess these have not been confirmed matches, but that will most likely be confirmed as the time goes on. So I keep in mind I haven't really been keeping up with the product lately. Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Now here's a fucking segment I have watched, regrettably. The Miz and Daniel Bryan killing it on the mic. Miz was on his set for his reality show, I guess, and then Daniel Bryan was laying into him, Miz was laying into him, and it was good mic work between the both of them. And then the Miz involves babies. Like toddlers. Why are two of the biggest saving graces in WWE feuding over babies? Or calling each other babies by having a doll involved, babies involved. Why? Because Maurice had a kid? And Brie had a kid? The fuck? Feud's dead on arrival, not to mention that this fucking match has been completely rushed way too soon anyway. And you know that either way, it's not going to fucking matter. And it would have meant way more if they did this at WrestleMania. But no, they decided they had to rush it because they want to try to pop a buy rate. Or a fucking viewership number on the network. Whatever they fucking call it now. But either way, it doesn't fucking matter. Next, Bobby Lashley versus Elias. A nothing match with a nothing consequence, nothing stipulation, nothing on the line. Bobby Lashley sang. Elias plays guitar. Bobby Lashley should be in the main event of SummerSlam, but he's not. No one gives a fuck. Next. The B Team versus the Deleter of Worlds versus the Revival. This is a rumored match, and it's apparently going to be a triple threat for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Oh boy, talk about burying the Revival on Raw 25. Yeah. Talk about the Deleters of Worlds being buried. Yeah. Talk about having a joke for a tag team in the B Team. Nothing match, nothing division, nothing of subsequence. Does not matter who wins the fucking titles. Even if the Revival wins at this point. Which they should have already fucking months ago. Next. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Nothing match, nothing of subsequence, nothing on the line. Who gives a shit? Next. Rusev versus Lana versus Andrade Cien Almas and Selena Vega. I'm sorry, Rusev and Lana versus Andrade and Selena Vega. Two people that WWE ruined as soon as they came up from NXT. Who gives a fuck? Rusev and Lana being held down by the fucking system because of past bullshit, and even though they're the highest fucking merch sellers with the Rusev Day t-shirt. Does anyone care? I don't, because I know that nothing will come out of this. Rusev should be in the WWE title scene. Or at the very least, a U.S. title scene. But I don't see anything in them, right? But we do, but they don't. Same with Almas. What has he done since he's come up? Talk about a far cry for both of these guys when they were in NXT, huh? Next. John Cena versus The Undertaker. There was a time back in 2002 where I wouldn't dream of missing a SummerSlam. Or any WWE pay-per-view for that matter. Because there was always something going on. There was always something happening. There were people getting pushed. There were people that were valued. Even during the Reign of Terror, there were still people valued. At least Booker T was still valued. At least Rob Van Dam was still valued. God damn, man. I mean, I remember back in the Attitude Era where everyone was valued. Every championship meant something. Even in WCW for a period of time in '98. I mean, you can go back to those days and titles meant something. And don't even get me started on ECW. I mean, all the titles meant something. I'm sure Raw is going on right now, and they're probably building to this fucking crappy card, and I don't give two fucks. I really don't. And the reason why is because I know they don't care of how their superstars are portrayed, so why the fuck should I? They already got their money, they already got their USA and fucking Fox payout. So they got a whole bunch of fuck you money, on top of they're going to Saudi Arabia again in favor of not having women on their fucking show for another $20 million, $25 million, whatever it is. So, like, they got plenty of fuck you money to throw at us and saying, hey, guess what? You don't matter. As I said before, the kids don't matter, the women doesn't matter, the casual does not matter, hardcore does not matter. So it's either you watch and shut your mouth, or you don't watch and shut your mouth. Now I'm choosing to not watch and not shut my mouth, but the only reason I am is because I'm trying to explain why I don't really make much WWE content anymore. Don't expect me to really talk about WWE anymore after this point. I will say that I am excited about the indies. I'm more excited about Impact than I ever thought I ever would be again, mainly because of Don Callis. And I am more excited of the merger between them, Ring of Honor and New Japan, all working under the same conglomerate to potentially take on WWE. Potentially. Don't know if it'll actually happen, but it's still way better than what WWE's putting out. I'm definitely looking forward to All In. I'm looking forward to Wrestle Kingdom next year, their Madison Square Garden show next year, their Rock and Wrestling Cruise Supercard between Ring of Honor and Impact is looking stacked already. I mean, they already announced LAX versus the Young Bucks, which is like, ooh boy, that looks fun. But I mean, if you guys think I'm going to be reviewing or live streaming this goddamn piece of garbage, you're off your head. And keep in mind, like, I got a life, like, outside of doing this. I've said this before. I got my own wrestling show I'm running off their old video game that I'd rather focus on because it feels like a project I'm working on. With, of course, the rest of my friends. I got college I got to worry about, which is like the first and foremost thing. Give me a break. Like, that's the number one priority over everything. And I'm going to Puerto Rico on the 18th. I'm not going to watch SummerSlam if I'm going to Puerto Rico on the 18th. In fact, I'm going to go to a fucking club probably and try to get laid before I even try to go for fucking SummerSlam. I'm serious. Like, I'd rather go to a fucking nightclub in Puerto Rico. That would have never been the case 2002. Hell no. I would have not even passed up the opportunity to watch SummerSlam over going to Puerto Rico in 2002. As sad as that might sound to some people. But that's how good the product was back then. It's not fucking substantial anymore. That product is dead. And I guarantee you, I'm going to miss this fucking show and in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be all caught up with one fucking clip from their YouTube channel, and I didn't even need to fucking watch it. That is why the viewership has gone down. You can feel free to have your own opinion, but the main reason I made this video was to really explain why I don't watch WWE as much anymore. And for those who think I'm going to be doing occasional WWE content, you know the reason why I will never do that again now.